Citizen Guardian. A fishes in those life. My Aussie Garden and Kitchen. Dusty Data. Garden State Gardener. NASCAR Nana Gang. Jinja Ninja. Gray Man Prepping. Buttercup. Viper. Bob 942. Mama Bear Pupping. Gardener Josh. The Big Blue House Homestead.
Hey everybody, welcome to this edition of White Family Farm. I see y'all out there. How y'all doing tonight? Oh, and hold on one second. I'm stop it. Stop. Okay, we're good. I see y'all out there. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. Mama Bear Prep. Hey, what's up? Good to see you, Billy. Hello, Prepper 101. Hello. I got a new person in here I've never seen before. Hello, Sandy. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate ya. And who else? Oh, everybody go over there and check out the Hedgehog um homestead. Dude, I saw them and I absolutely love them. They have turkeys and stuff. I love turkeys. And go over there and check them out. Pretty cool. Hello, Arkwad Man. What's going on? Jinja Ninja. Hello, everybody. Tonight we have a special guest, and it's Dave from Southern Ohio Prepping. And I've actually been watching him and Gil and Uncle Al for close to now a couple years. And I decided to have them on my show. Hello, Gardener Josh. I see you. And so I decided to have him on the show, and we are going to just, get to know him, a little better. Any questions that you have for him, he'll be able to answer, I hope. And hey, Prep for it. What's up, girl? Good to see y'all. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll bring him up onto the show. Here he is.
Boo!
Whoa, that's scary.
They say they're still having a hard time hearing you, so you may want to turn your mic gain up just a little bit.
Oh, my lordy. Can you hear me now? Is that
I
better?
can. I can really hear you now.
Okay, good. So I can pull my mic a little closer too. I think that'll help. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I hope you can all hear me now. What's up? All right. So, Wide Family Farm. Hey, girl, talk into the mic. Sorry, guys.
Hey, Mousy.
A little more, Courtney. Okay. Well, if I turn it up even more, I can't turn it up anymore. I really can't.
I would bring your highs and your mids up to about 3/4 of the way up and turn your bass down just a touch.
I can do that.
Give me a little bit. And for
Is that
those
better?
hiding, yeah, for those hiding from Mouse, you better hide because you know what? Those squeaky little feet of hers, yeah, you can't hide from Mouse. I'm telling you, I tried. It does not work.
We love mouse toes. What's up, girl? How you doing? I know. It's my husband. He's making me all fancy. Tell you the truth. Oh, instead of messing with that, maybe I need to turn down my headset so I'm not blasting myself out. So, yeah. Thank you all for showing up tonight. We appreciate you. We just have some questions for Dave. Chuck Norris has a poster of mouse toes on his bedroom wall.
Yeah, and when he looks at that, he cowers in fear.
That's hilarious. That's so funny. Okay, so Dave, I'm going to act like I don't know you for this interview
You
because there's a lot
probably
of
should
people.
admit that openly.
Because
Because
there's a lot of people out
after
there
my
that don't.
last couple live streams, people have started wondering if I'm sane or not.
So I thought I'd just act like I don't know you. I'm just going to ask you some questions that probably people don't know about you. Hello, Carlos Corner. Thank you for coming in. And we do have a special guest. If Jinja Ninja or some of my guests this evening could possibly put his link in the chat so the people could find him easier, that'd be great. Um, But yeah, so thank you so much. We are a goofy bunch here. So if you this is your first time coming in, we are goofy. We're down to earth. We laugh a lot, and we talk about poop sometimes.
And
So
I'm
please
just
keep
I'm
this
just comedic relief anyway, so it's all good.
Oh, check my mic volume on Melon. Let me see.
Go ahead and crank it up to 100% and then readjust your board afterwards.
Mm. Yeah, everything seems to be good, so I don't really know what's going on. And I feel like I'm loud. I feel loud. And do I sound loud? I feel like I'm loud. I
Yeah,
could just
bring
be farther away from my mic too.
there you
So that
go.
okay. Is that better, guys? You can't see my face. I'll just hide
Now
behind
you
like
see why I hide down here. That way they don't see the mic, but they can, they get the whole from the look from what was it called? Tim's Tool Time.
mm, yeah.
Just gonna hide. From,
What was his name?
I don't remember it. I only
Neighbor.
watched it a couple of times. Somebody in the chat will know. Hey, Gardner.
I can't remember the neighbor's name. Hello, Garden State Gardener.
And like him, I'm full of all kinds of useless wisdom.
Wilson. Thank you,
Yep,
Skinner
that's it.
Farms. I freaking love that show. They had it on Netflix not too long ago, and I binge watched it with my son. Like those shows were so hilarious.
Holy cow! Al dropped to 104. He's going to be out there and having a tea party here shortly.
Okay, guys. So, Dave, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know originally you came from Michigan, but
Yeah,
tell us a
don't.
little bit more.
Yeah, I don't know why I came to Ohio, but it was a spur of the moment thing, and I have regretted it ever since.
Uh oh.
To one point, and that's the birth of my son. That's the only good thing that's happened here in Ohio.
Aw.
But that being said, after coming down here and moving to Ohio, I came to the realization after living most of my life without because I didn't need, driving truck, you don't need a house. I lived in my truck for almost 30 years. I came to Ohio and then had a son after being here for a couple of years and realized I have nothing for him. I have nothing to give him or my other kids, and no way to protect him if things went sour. So I decided to start doing short little videos to help my family members understand why I considered myself being prepared for things. And that's how my original channel, Wolf's Den No BS Reviews, was started, is doing reviews on the cheaper side of things for those who can't afford it, because at the time I couldn't.
Yeah.
I'd go to the Dollar Tree or Dollar General and buy stuff that could be used, that was inexpensive, and show that it could last and be used in an emergency situation.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of flack from some of the bigger channels. Oh, you review all this cheap stuff. No, if you don't have a Maxpedition bag, you ain't gonna survive. And oh, you didn't buy my T-shirt. Oh, I ain't talking to you.
Yeah. That's
So
annoying.
I really tried pushing hard to get people to understand you don't have to go out there and listen to certain prepper channels that have literally sold their soul to have stuff
Yeah.
on a market so they can literally take the last dollar you've got and keep you from being prepared so they can have extra money in their bank account and then laugh all the way to the bank.
Right. Right. And that's actually why I like you, Dave. Right there. Right there. Point blank is the is that reason. Um, I see a lot of prepping channels out there that just have nothing but scare tactics and just stuff that doesn't seem logical to me whatsoever. And
Well, the way I look at it, one of our presidents said it best. The only thing you have to fear is fear itself.
yeah,
I mean, if you're afraid of something, you can do one of two things, or one of three things. You can either learn more about it so you're not afraid, go cower in a hole and hope somebody takes care of it for you, or just stand up and deal with it.
yeah,
I prefer to get knowledge. And I've said it in a lot of my videos in the past. I'll say it here again. If you're afraid of something, that's on you. There's nothing to be afraid of in this world. There's no reason to fear death. Everybody has to face it. No reason to fear taxes. We all have to pay them, unfortunately. So being prepared, there's no reason to fear it. It's just getting the right mindset to realize, hey, I need X number of weeks worth of food if we lose power in the middle of winter due to an ice storm.
yeah,
And I have to have a way to heat the place. So I need to get me a small wood burning stove that I can heat the house with, or heat up rocks and put under the beds at night so the beds at least stay warm. And I need a way to cook food. And then I started worrying about medical preps, and that's why I've got that big red bag over my shoulder right there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, there's no reason to fear it if you take the time to learn it.
Right. I agree. And I'm not I'm I never really ever was in fear. Um I think in the beginning when the sickness came out, I think I was a little bit scared. Especially when they closed everything down. That freaked me out a little bit. And then I just started getting wiser to it. And you think about all the logic, and then my brother's a nurse and he was telling me, they're talking about things that just go against every logic out there.
Mhm.
And then I started wising up to it a little bit and
Right.
started, thinking, well,
Back when this whole Red Dragon thing came out, and I fortunately am the one that coined that, and a Chinese news agency also used it for one episode after I emailed them and said thanks for bringing us all the good information. I explained who I was and what I was, how I'd called it. So for one episode, they actually called it the Red Dragon as well. I thought that was pretty cool. But anybody that hasn't been around very long, if they go back and look at my channel back in, I think it was the end of January last year, I first started discussing what we call the Red Dragon. Gil, who's Drayman Prepping out there in the side chat, for those who don't know, has been keeping a running tab, and him and I have been covering this from the very beginning, telling the truth.
yep,
I told everybody back in February, I think it was last year, that this was airborne because of the way it acted on that cruise ship, which everybody, oh no, 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 all these people didn't get it because they were all separated. Then how did they all get it? Well, 2 months after everybody got off the cruise ship and they finally cleaned it, they found the red dragon spores inside the air ducts 25, 30 feet away from cabins where people were at. That only happens when a virus is airborne.
right.
But up until this very day, our own government refuses to acknowledge that this is airborne. They say, oh, it's because of the spittle coming out of your mouth. That's why you got to wear these stupid cloth masks that don't protect you from anything.
Yeah. So I just like throughout the last few months and stuff, I've just became wiser. And it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't take a rocket. Well, it's not rocket science, people. Ask Uncle Al, right?
Yep.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out you just need to wash your hands.
Yep.
Wash your hands and be logical.
Well,
Don't go out of the house when you're sick. You
right.
know,
And it comes down to common sense. I mean, yeah, washing your hands is important, very important. I mean, but if you're going to go out and play in the dirt, you're actually getting more bacteria in your skin. Let it sit there a minute. A lot of people my generation don't get sick very often because we played in the dirt as kids. We didn't have phones, tablets, computers. Our entertainment was matchbox cars out in the mud. We
I
played,
played in the woods constantly when I was a kid.
same here.
Constantly.
We played cowboys and Indians, cops and robbers, military. We played with sticks for guns. A lot of people my generation are still pretty sane and pretty smart. Thanks to TV, it's dumbed everybody down into a bucket of nonsense. But you know, people are starting to become smarter. I'm not going to use the whole woke thing because the left has destroyed that term.
Exactly. I yeah, that's one thing. Is like I just became a little bit smarter. I think this year, I became smarter to the news as well, and I've actually completely stopped watching the news altogether
Mhm.
because I don't believe anything that they're saying ever.
No, that's why I
And
cover news on Friday nights because there is so much misinformation. It's just like, what was it? Day before yesterday, or was it yesterday? One of the members, a pastor that that was pastored by my pastor, he is now a pastor of his own church. Um, he posted a link from a news article about Israel saying the current vaccines are not covered by the new Delta variant, but our government still, and all the news agencies today are saying, oh, but everybody says it's covered. Y'all ain't got nothing to worry about. But y'all need to mask up and y'all got to stay home again. And we may have to lock everybody down for a third time. I predicted that already.
yeah, I just hope not because I don't think it's gonna go over well.
It won't, but that's the reason they're going to do it. But let's not get into something that's hyperbole at the moment.
Exactly. So okay. What major event led you into prepping?
Really, no major event. I just came to the realization that if something did happen, I didn't have anything to, protect us. When I had to take and start raising Charles by him, it was just me and him. Um, I had spent my last paycheck from the job I had at Lowe's, where I was in a position to go into management. I had to leave my job due to an injury, plus, not having any daycare for my son. I had to take my very last paycheck to buy him formula. And if anybody's raising a kid right now that's drinking formula knows that is not cheap.
No, it's not.
Two weeks of formula was $87.
Yeah.
And this was 10 years ago.
Well, back then they also didn't have the generic brands that they have. I was very fortunate that my son could have the generic Walmart formula. That was $20 and it lasted for 2 weeks. And I was so lucky for that because if not, those big old cans of Similac are like $50.
Right. And at the time, I didn't have WIC. I didn't have food stamps. I didn't have no way to help. So, what little I was making at Lowe's, which I made a decent wage, was going to entirely taking care of him. And when I could get daycare and when nobody'd show up to, somebody say, yeah, we'll watch Charles for you. They'd watch him one day and with his, well, we'll just call him issues because I don't belittle anybody for them. I mean, everybody has an issue of some sort. We all do. Some are more pronounced than others. But with Charles's, he can be an extreme handful for people who don't know how to deal with it. And so they'd watch him one day, oh, we can't deal with him no more. Or he does this or he does that constantly. And they'd quit. So I had to give up my job and go to solo raising him and came to realize I have nothing. If something happens right now, there's nothing. And like just as I started to being prepared for emergencies, we lost power down here in this part of Ohio for 2 straight weeks.
Yeah.
And it took every bit of resources I had left and saved up, plus what was in the house, to survive those 2 weeks on food. So, that really, solidified my thoughts on being ready for emergencies at that point. I'd already made the decision, but that just solidified the fact that, yeah, I'm right in my thoughts. I need to be ready for anything.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That leads me into my next question. Um, Now, do you plan? I know your situation has changed since the last time before you lived in an apartment. Now you live in a house, and your situation has changed. Do you still plan on bugging out, or do you plan on bugging in? And do you have a plan?
Well, that is the age old question for people who call themselves, I hate the word, preppers. You're apes. You're advanced preparedness engineers. Get that through your heads now. You're not a prepper because Discovery Channel done destroyed that. You're now apes. Courtney's got her poop troop. I got apes. We're advanced preparedness engineers. We're smart. We think about things. That being said, the, the choice between bugging out and bugging in really depends on the circumstances and situation. If it's, say, an earthquake, well, yeah, I'm probably going to have to leave. And there is a chance of an earthquake. If the New Madrid fault decides to pop, I'm going to feel it down here where I'm at. Courtney may get less where she's at here in Ohio, but I'm going to feel it before she does. And that's because of the tectonic plate between here and there and the fact that I'm basically sitting on top of the Ohio River. If it's nasty weather, I'm going to stay here. If it's an EMP attack, well, right past the first strike, and that's one of the first things they're going to drop an EMP over top of, I'm not going nowhere. Because between my preferred bug out location and here, there is a nuclear power plant that I have to make sure I can avoid any fallout from. And depending on the situation and circumstances, that could be a mighty big area. And it's not that far from actually where Courtney lives either, as far as the crow flies.
Yeah.
You know which one I'm talking about, right?
There's one off of Lake Erie, and you
Yes.
can see it plain as day when you're on Lake Erie. You can see the
Yes.
plant, and it's about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes from my house.
Yep. Due
Which,
west.
in the grand scheme of things, if that thing decides to explode, it
You're done.
doesn't matter. It's that's it.
Right. So, bugging out, bugging in literally depends on the circumstances involved. weather events like tornado, yeah, I'll have to relocate for a little while. I've got bags already set up to do that. If Charles and I have to hoof it on foot, I've got bags set up to do that. And I've got a wagon I can pull to carry the medical kit and food supplies with me if I need to, or water containers. So it all depends literally on what's happening.
Yeah. Okay, so what kind of items? Well, I mean, I know you probably don't want to go over everything in a bug out bag,
It would
but
take
what are
three
just some,
hours.
yeah, what are some generic things that you would probably put in your bug out bag? Now, there's also another question to this as well. So you have a bug out bag, but you also have a medical bag as well. Do you plan on carrying both, or do they serve as both purpose? It's also a
Nope.
bug out bag as well.
The medical bag is in and of itself
Okay.
52 pounds. To carry it is actually putting it at my weight limit for being a comfortable pack to carry. All right. The average person should carry no more than 22% of their body weight. Ideally, it's supposed to be 20% or less, but 22% is the max I would personally recommend. And I'm not in the greatest of health, but I'm not in poor health either. I know I can hike on the average about 25 to 30 miles comfortably every single day, multiple days in a row. My son cannot. So I have to adjust my plans accordingly. So the medical bag and foodstuffs, water storage containers, and stuff like that will be put in a wagon and we'll use that. I have a backpack, and Charles has one as well, that have sleeping materials in it. You know, like we have a couple lightweight sleeping bags. We have some uh, I can't think of the name of the stuff right now, but it's aluminized foam padding that we can fold up and put under us to help retain body heat in the cooler months in the winter if needed. I have cooking materials and or pots and stuff like that in mine. Charles carries the silverware. I've got water filtration in mine. Charles has got some food stuff. So I split it between our two bags. I've got, the basics. In when you build a bag, Dave Canterbury has what he calls the 10 C's of survival. I've done a video on it on the 10 C's, and I would highly recommend anybody who's looking to start wanting to put a bag together to look at either Dave Canterbury's or mine as far as the 10 C's of survival.
Yeah.
And I go over it from a budget mindset, and that's where I think everybody needs to start. Don't think, oh, wow, Clean Canteen's got this canteen set that's titanium. It's $290 bazillion. Obviously, that's an exaggeration. But when you're first starting prepping, a $50 canteen set might as well be $2 bazillion because most people can't just drop that on a simple canteen set. I don't even have it, and I've got some pretty nice stuff. You need to start off with what you can afford and learn how to
Right.
make that work for you. And that's why I've always done my especially my earlier videos, and even the ones on my channel that say Wolfstead No BS reviews are coming from the standpoint of people don't have an exorbitant bank account. They have to have a way to, uh, I need something to cook in. Well, if you go down to the dollar store, a Dollar Tree, where everything's a dollar, and you get a couple of them, what is it, 4x9x5 bread pans, you can put 4 cups of water in that, boil that, and you can eat a cup of ramen noodles, or you can make some mashed potatoes that you get for $1 a bag at Walmart. You can get some mashed potatoes out of that. So you can cook two different items with that hot water. Now you've got a meal. Might not be the greatest meal, but it'll give you the energy to keep moving.
Yeah.
So start with the simpler things, shall we say.
Yeah, that's actually great. And when we interviewed Disabled in Prepping last week, she was she basically said, I can't afford this stuff, so I just buy a couple cans,
Mm-hmm.
every time, and you put it away, and if that's all you can do, and then before you know it, you have tons of stuff stored away. It's just little bits at a time. So
Oh, hush, Gil.
don't let the word prepping, you guys, freak you out.
Right. And to a lot of, when I first decided and I looked into all these bags, I looked at Such, Double O. He's got a secondary channel that's about prepping. Then I looked at Canadian Prepper and City Prepping and dare I say his name, Bear, whatever his name is. No, not Bear Grylls, but Greer from the Ozarks.
Yeah.
God, it just irritates me to no end for his lying. But
Bear Grylls, I don't. I don't particularly care for the man, and I say this because it seems like in every episode he gets naked. Every episode, the man is naked. I'm like, do you
Yeah,
really need to get naked this much?
no, and it's half of what Bear Grylls does. Bear Grylls does is all show. If you really want to understand bushcrafting at its basic, go watch Dave Canterbury. Now, Dave
Yeah.
admitted at one point in time he had some pretty shady things he was doing, but MCQ Bushcraft is another great channel. A lot of his older videos are spot on.
Now, with the Dave Canterbury thing, now I know he had some issues with his show in the past.
Hmm.
He lied to get on that show.
Hmm.
Now, does that affect the way you think about him now?
Well, some of the stuff that it got him in kind of hot water, really doesn't take away from the basic facts of what he was teaching.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, how do you do a fire with nothing but a couple pieces of wood and a piece of shoestring? Making a bow drill to start a fire is basic stuff. The Indians used to make fire that way. So yes, learning how to make that, I have no problem with that theory. How to purify water, how to take rocks and gravel and sand, and you've already had a fire once, and so now you got some charcoal at the bottom. You grind that up, put a cloth over the very bottom of your bottle, and now you have a water filter. You
Yeah.
boil it, you filter it, and you boil it again. So I mean, the basic principle of a lot of what he taught is still valid.
Right.
Some of the other things, not so much.
Yeah. I feel bad though because I really liked the show that he was on and I loved his partner when they would do things together because it showed two different dynamics. His partner was
Right.
this hippie who didn't wear any shoes. And, and I kind of liked their aspect. They didn't always get along. They didn't always see eye to eye on things, but they did come together on lots of different survival techniques. But I felt bad for his partner in the end because, the show got canceled and all the things that had happened. But
Right.
I was just curious on your take on that. If you still, trusted the man after all of that
Like,
had happened.
if you read some of his books, and he's actually came out publicly apologized for it and admitted what he did. And to me, that takes a lot more of a man than some of these other channels out here who do nothing but, oh, there was an earthquake here today, and we're going to have an economic collapse because of the earthquake, and you better go out and start buying this and buy my T-shirt while you're at it. And
Hmm.
those channels just get under my skin in the worst way because all they're doing is for people who are just getting started, because YouTube pushes that channel so hard. They're getting started. And, oh, I've got to have an expedition bag and I need to buy their T-shirt. And holy cow, they said I got to go out and buy 50 ounces of gold this month. It'll turn people off.
Right.
And the fact is, those people don't care because they're raking in dollars off AdSense. Their YouTube pushes their channels, hundreds of their videos a day. So yeah, one video only may make $10, but when they get 150 videos making that same $10, they're starting to make bank. No, it's not as good as it used to be, but still. And then
Yeah.
some of those people go out and buy their T-shirt. Oh, I got to support this guy. Holy cow, he went to Florida and raised all this money for this place. No, he didn't raise a dang penny for that place down in Florida. He lied. And some of the people that were with him have left him because of those lies.
Yeah.
It's channels like that hurt. Well, I'll call it a genre because kind of it is, of channels that want to get the truth out there about, hey, this is the way you should do it. This is how you should think. Hey, this is happening, but don't flip
Right.
out over it. Be calm. The first rule in survival training of any military, any private company is when something happens, first thing you got to do is stay calm.
Right.
Then check A, B, C, D, whatever. I put on my Discord a little thought process. You're in an airplane and you're leaving the West Coast, going to the East Coast. A half hour into your flight, the plane's put down, and pilot goes, "We're doing an emergency stop landing, and just stay in your seats. We'll be with you shortly." 2 hours later, they get you off the plane, telling you, "Oh, we're going to reboard you in about an hour." 8 hours later, you're still standing off on the tarmac, going, "What the hell's going on?" Excuse my French. What do you do? Well, the first thing you do is you don't flip out like everybody else is starting to. You try to find some survival gear, and when nobody's looking, you leave and then start assessing your entire situation. If you're a prepared person, you're going to know depending on the type of plane you're in, how far you're going to travel from LA in that half hour. Are you going to be in Nevada? Are you going to be in Texas? Where are you going to be at? So you're going to have an idea of the climate you're dealing with already right off the bat. When you have an idea what climate you're dealing with, then you can worry about what direction you think you need to go to get to an area that'll have the supplies you need, but not too much of a population that you have to deal with roving bands of thugs.
Yeah. That's awesome. Um, I'm sorry, I was reading the chat and I was a little
I'm
bit
trying. It's moving way too
distracted.
fast for my old eyes.
um, yeah, Bob is just joking for all of those in the chat. So we joke around about his basement, and yeah, it's funny. You have to watch the after party in order to understand where he's coming from, and it's kind of funny. So, um, so okay, tell me a little bit about future plans to garden. This gets the gardener inside of me excited. I am excited for you to garden eventually. So
Well,
when will this happen, do you think?
right now it's not going to be until next year. We just don't have. If it hadn't been for me moving into this house, and mind you, my friend is the landlord. I've known this guy for over 10 years, and it just worked out the perfect way for it to work out, where he needed somebody to move in and I needed a place to move.
Hmm.
So the people that were here before didn't have a garden. He hasn't planted a garden since when he first bought this place like 40 years ago. So, and this house is well over 100 years old. So, when I come here and I start talking about, well, maybe I can put a raised bed over here. And he's got a lot of stuff that's saved in the yard for building materials that he either has to get rid of, or we have to find a way to implement it into it. And right now, this year, there's just not enough time to do it. So next year, we'll be planting raised beds. I'm
Yeah.
probably going to do at least one hugelkultur bed, nothing but old decayed wood and leaves and cardboard, stuff like that, to give us the best possible start on that one. That one's going to house a lot of the shallower rooted vegetables and stuff. And then I'll break up some ground, fertilize it, put some compost on it in a bigger area and let that set for a year. So the first year, we're probably going to have a lot of root vegetables like radishes, carrots, onions, maybe some squash, melons, or something like that.
That'll be good. That's really good. I'm excited for you to do that, and I'm really excited for you to tape it and to videotape it and
Yeah.
stuff. That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
people see enough of my ugly mug as it is. You sure they want to see videos of me playing in the mud?
Well, I want to see it. I do.
Well, I don't know if I can do it.
Okay, so let's see what time it is. Oh, it's only 10:04. Okay, so so I want to go back a little bit because I want to talk
Shame
about
on you,
you,
Carol.
not just prepping, but you in general. What branch of the service were you in, Dave?
For a brief time, I was in the U.S. Army.
In the U.S. Army?
Yep.
And do you think that had a lot to do with why you were, or do you think that had a lot to do with why you are the way you are?
No, actually, it didn't.
Just playing.
No, it actually gave me a little bit too much of an attitude. And when I first had to take leave, I had a big chip on my shoulder. I was pissed off at the whole situation, and the world around me knew it. And I was stupid, and that's why I decided to go driving truck, because that way I didn't have to deal with stupid, and I could be my own boss. Basically, I didn't have nobody standing over my shoulder. Hey, you didn't type that right, or you didn't wash this right, or you didn't cook that right. The fields I wanted to get into, which when I was younger was either criminal psychology or a chef. Both using very complicated skill sets. But both of those also required having somebody stand over my shoulder constantly critiquing everything I did. I jumped in a truck and I could drive.
Yeah.
And that's why I did that.
So
Welcome back.
you were a truck driver for how many years?
Almost 30 years.
30 years. That's pretty cool. Anything interesting that you would like to point out about truck driving for that long?
Yeah. Don't drive a Corvette. I actually seen the front end of a Corvette sitting underneath the tandems and the DOT bar at the back end of the Corvette. The guy was driving 120 mile an hour, ran into slowed down traffic, and literally went up underneath the back end of a semi. Corvettes are fiberglass; they disintegrate.
Yeah. Wow. That's
Remember,
scary.
two major things to really think about trucks. One, they have very, very big blind spots. They can't see certain things. If they can't see you, you can't see what that driver's doing. You can't see if that driver's checking his mirrors, looking for a way out of an accident that's in front of him. And if you're that doggone close, when he hit, by the time the brake lights actually activate for you to see that the truck is stopping, the tires are already started to lock up. There is a delay in an air system before the lights come on. By the time you realize his lights are on, he's already hit the brakes. You're traveling way too fast to make any appropriate adjustments.
Yeah. It's pretty scary out there. I think truck drivers see a lot more than the actual people driving in cars. Like
Yeah.
I I grew up with nothing but truck drivers. I mean, my dad was a truck driver and now my husband's a truck driver, and they see a lot more on the road than on an everyday basis than what we do. And every day, I mean, I just wish that people would just be a little more cautious when they're driving.
Well, a lot of the decline for truck drivers happened when Connie Chung did an expose on truck drivers many, many, many years ago. And her famous quote from that, she said, all truck drivers have the IQ of a 13-year-old and an education of a 7-year-old, and 90% of them are alcoholics or drug addicts. Which shortly after that, a lot of people started really hating on truck drivers for a couple of weeks right after that expose. People would get in their cars and literally slam on their brakes in front of trucks trying to cause accidents so they could sue truck drivers. Now, there's still, unfortunately, a lot of people that do that. They think, oh, but a lot of truck drivers have gotten smart, and
Yeah,
your good truck drivers have dash cams now because of
right.
how bad it's getting.
Yeah, well, my husband has a camera on him all the time. Like he has a camera in the truck and it's just watching him constantly. That's just the way his company rolls. So,
Right.
I
They need
mean,
to be
he
watching
can't
the traffic in
even,
front of him, too. But
yeah,
some companies, oh, we just put it on the driver because we got to make sure he's not doing something he's not supposed to.
he can't even pick his butt. Um,
TMI, TMI, TMI.
so okay, so what is the most important thing to have in a bug out bag?
There's, all right, Dave, and I agree with him, has the 10 C's, but there are 5 basic C's. You have to have combustion, which is a form of fire. You have to have a container. You have to have cordage. You have to have something to cook in, and you have to have covering. So once you've got those basic 5, getting the rest starts becoming very easy. It's them first 5 that starts, gets a lot of people concerned, and it's usually the covering part, because a decent sill tarp, which will protect you from the elements, will keep you relatively warm out of the wind. A decent sill tarp is going to cost you around 75, $80 for a decent one. You start talking to really good ones that have, triple stitching, not double stitching. They have good grommets in there. They're placed properly. They're well stitched around the grommet, so it's not going to rip out very easy. Now you're talking $100 for a 10 by 20 sill tarp. And for those who don't know, sill tarps, the sill material is the same thing they use to make parachutes. So, that can get real expensive. So start with the doggone, go to Harbor Freight, buy one of the 10 by 20 heavy blue tarps. They weigh a ton. They'll last you a minute. And
Yeah,
start practicing with that until you can afford to get the better stuff. The next thing is cordage. And the biggest mistake I see a lot of people do, and this is one area I will tell you to stay away from Walmart, Harbor Freight, and everything else, and that's your cordage. Um, I deal with Titan Survival, and it's the only company I will buy paracord from. For the main reason is they're the ones that supply it to the U.S. military. And if my former branch and the other 3 main branches use it, it's got to be pretty decent stuff. So, and I've got 700 foot of regular paracord, and I got 100 foot of the Titan XL, which is stuff with Kevlar cord in it.
that's good. That, that's really good. Okay, so those are some things that you need to have in your bug out bag. Now, what are the most important things to have, say, for instance, in your medical bag?
Your medical bag needs to start basically with your standard boo boo kit, band aids, cleaning material, something to clean with, like hydrogen peroxide, and preferably rubbing alcohol. Sometimes it's hard to fit bottle of rubbing alcohol, so get the uh, little pads. And the cheapest way to get the little alcohol prep pads is to buy them once for diabetics. They usually are a lot cheaper than a standard box. It's the exact same stuff,
Yeah.
but for whatever reason, one group of people gets charged more than the other. Don't know why, but they do.
Rocky Mountain High, he was in the army.
Yep.
That's what he said. Okay. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna open up the chat, y'all. I'm gonna open it up for anybody that has any questions for Dave. So we can do that. And I know I saw a lot of questions, but I can't look at them right now. So if you could please put your questions in all caps and whatever, and then I will read them off. Um, Alberta Hinksman, thank you so much for coming in the chat. This is my first time actually seeing you in the chat, so thank you so much. Hello, Tim. Thank you for being here. But so okay, so as far as medications go, how exactly do you store your medications? Now I've seen different ways and
Well, I personally have
yeah.
stopped taking anything prescribed.
Oh, that's cool.
The
So
last thing
do you
they
just
tried
keep
putting, they
like
tried
things like
putting. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go
sorry?
ahead.
Do you just keep things like Advil in the regular containers?
For the open use bottle, yes, it's just a regular container. As a matter of fact, any prescription bottles that I've had in the past, any prescribed medications, for myself or extra for Charles, stay in the original containers, but they get put into Mylar bags with an oxy absorber in it, a desiccant pack, and then they're heat sealed,
Okay.
so no air can get into it, and they're stored. And I try to store them in an area that doesn't get above 75 degrees if at all possible. There are studies by the U.S. military and other major government offices that did a study on the advocacy on how potent the medicine is after X number of years. And a lot of medicines may say, oh, gee, you have to get rid of this in 5 months, when in all actuality, most of it's still good for 15 to 20 years. Now, there are some medicines, and you have to do your own due diligence. There's no way I can cover this in a short stream. Doc Bones and I discussed it the very first live stream I had with Doc Bones on last year about prescription medications being stored. You have to do your own due diligence. You find out what you've got. If you've got extra of it, find out what the government said as far as its true expiration date is, how potent it still was after X number of years. And if you go back, I do believe I put it in the bottom chat. If not, it's in the chat itself somewhere in that video where we talk about the link to find out that information. There is an actual link provided by the government talking about the tests they did. And it's a long read and it'll take you a minute to find your stuff, but do your own due diligence and find out what you need. And I'll be right back. I hear my kid doing something that may get him in trouble.
Okay. Uh-oh. Oily. What? Oh, Fuzzy Fork. You're killing me. How are y'all doing tonight in the chat? Y'all doing good? We just love Southern Ohio prepping Dave. He is awesome, and we love having him on our chat. This is the first time actually having him on, so we really appreciate his time of doing this. Um, After this program, after this tonight, the interview, I plan on having an after party that starts at 11:15 until God knows when, and we usually have wonderful panelists that come on and we talk and we have a good time. So y'all are welcome to come over there and hang out with us. Oh, the oily prepper. That's what I thought because I saw your email and I was a little bit confused by that, but you know, they call me oily. And behave. Oh, you know what, Billy? I don't have to give you a wrench if you don't want it. But I appreciate you. Thank you, Prep, for it for becoming a Poop Troop member. By the way, that came across the screen, and I appreciate you. Your name will actually be on the video, so thank you so much for doing that.
I'm back.
He is back, guys. He's back,
Scary,
y'all.
I know.
Yeah, Billy, you better be adulting.
I just had to do that too, so it happens. Next
But
question on the Price is Wrong.
does
Hey, I
anybody
can't
have
say it
any
the other.
questions for Dave at all?
I can't.
Anybody?
I can't say it the other way, or otherwise you get a copyright strike.
Yeah, don't do that. I already have a wild bunch coming on after this, so.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh, okay, cool. Prep for it. You can come to the after party, and if you want to come on the panel, you can do that too. It's
No,
just a bunch of good friends
no.
just having a good time. So, um, but yeah, so we really appreciate you being on tonight with us. We really appreciate your knowledge and all of this as well. Um, you actually, when you're on Gil's lives, you actually put in a really good wealth of knowledge on his chats and stuff, and we really appreciate it.
I'm just comedic relief.
But okay, guys. Um, do you think people that garden know more about prepping than your average person?
I would not say no more, but I would say they're better prepared for what may be coming down the pipeline.
Yeah. I don't really know how I feel about that because I am a gardener, but I don't feel like I'm any more prepared than say
Um,
Mama
okay,
Bear. I think Mama
here,
Bear is
let
way
me
more
put it this
prepared.
way. I'll put it this way. You being able to grow things like Mouse can grow things down at her place, are better prepared at this moment than I am without being able to grow anything. Growing one or two small herbs is not going to feed the family here. If things get as bad as what some people are screaming on other YouTube channels, which I'm not saying they will or won't, because I don't have enough information to make that decision, um, you guys are better prepared than I am. If I want a head of lettuce, I've still got to find a way to the dang store to go get it. By the end of this year, you guys are going to have some. I'm still not.
Yeah.
So in that respect, you guys are better prepared. Now, Mouse is even better prepared because she just jumps in that little kayak of hers and kind of scoots out in the water and she gets her dinner. I can't do that. Don't tell Mouse, but I'm moving into the tree bushes next to her house.
You better be prepared, Mouse Toes.
Oh, I ain't going anywhere near her house. I don't need a cat busted in my butt. She busted a cap in your butt. I don't know if she's as accurate as I am, but I'm not taking no chances. And if anybody's curious to what I'm referring to, go watch the little short I put up this morning. It's called Candy Shot.
I saw that. He wants in my pantry for my pea soup.
See, now here's proof that Mouse don't forget nothing. She's got the brain like an elephant. That comment was made well over a year ago. She ain't forgot it. Trust me, folks. Don't cross her. She don't forget. Mm-mm. She went and talked to me for like 2 weeks.
Okay, y'all, we still have a few more minutes. If you have any questions for Dave, go ahead and put them up. I'm meaner than SOP. I wouldn't mess with Mouse Toes. No way. Oh my gosh, this chat is
Mouse doesn't have
hilarious.
a basement, but she does have a crawl space under her house that I could probably almost stand up in.
Oh wow.
Well, you figure where she lives, she's basically living on stilts.
Oh yeah, yeah.
By the way, Mouse, how's the weather down there? I hope you guys are not getting hit too hard.
Yeah. I would love to live in a situation like that, like on the beach and stuff, but it always scares me because of the weather. I think right now where I live is like the perfect area. Like we rarely ever get tornadoes. We rarely ever get really bad, horrible storms, and it just seems great. Oh, Jinja Ninja. She has a question. What is the next thing you will focus on prepping?
Right now, basically, I'm set with other than increasing the amount of food and water storage I have. That's kind of difficult right now because I have to find a way to find places to put the stuff.
Yeah. Oops. Oops. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
there was
another
another
problem is
question
like
up
I don't
there.
have a whole lot of room here either. Like this room that I'm in is a catch-all right now because I don't have any space. I don't have a pantry. I don't have anything like that. So,
Ginger, I actually have solar power that will keep the necessary things powered up. And I'm not dehydrating at this moment because I don't have anything to dehydrate.
yeah.
And there was one other question the Wickershire Project asked, and I'm not answering that one. Y'all
Uh-oh.
gonna have to use your own imagination. Sorry. And that might be pretty scary for some, so I wouldn't think about it.
I didn't even know what he asked.
You have to scroll
Oh,
up a little bit.
oh, I see now. Really? Really, Billy? You had to get that personal, did you?
I have no intention of answering it. No.
Do not answer. Okay, he doesn't plan to. Oh, you guys are cracking me up. This is such a great crowd this evening. We really appreciate y'all coming in. I know I got a couple of new people in here, and I appreciate you subscribing to my channel and hitting the like button. And if you don't want to miss anything, hit that ring that bell too. You know.
And Kaylin's correct. I do not reveal all my preps.
No, and oh gosh,
That's
that's
rule number one of prepping is situation OPSEC. You don't let everybody know everything you got. That's the
right.
fastest way to have somebody else come take what you got.
Exactly. And what do you say about those who say that they're going to take everything you got?
Show up at my door and try it.
Yeah, exactly.
I
I
have
cannot
silent
stand
but
people like that.
I have silent but lethal ways of exterminating any adversary that shows up at my doorstep with ill-gotten intentions.
Yeah. Oh, and Fish has said sister wives for SHTF. Yes or no, Dave?
Nope, nope. I plan on staying single and celibate.
I think Dave thinks women are trouble.
You are. That's Dustin. He told me you're trouble. So I mean, you guys go deal with that. I'm staying out of it, but you know.
They just need what? A banana hammock joke? What? I don't know if I want to know.
If you don't know, then you're too young to understand.
Aw, aw. You and Kaylin, you guys can be single and celibate together.
It- our faiths collide, but we respect each other with that too. So
Yeah, there's a lot of prepping channels out there that have constant state of fear, and then they have that I'm gonna take everything you got. And a lot of people have that attitude, but they don't come right out and say it either. So I have a huge issue with that.
awesome, Gil. Gil checked his garden.
Oh, that's good. Oh man, my garden this year is a disaster. I got to do a garden tour this week, and I got to do a couple of shout out videos. And I tell you what, man, my garden is looking. There's some things that are growing phenomenally, and then there's other things that are growing like not growing at all. It's a very
Take some
frustrating
tums and
year.
go throw. Take some tums, and then the areas where you're not growing, and try to get the not so fruity flavored ones, but get some tums
The
and put some.
berries one.
Yeah, sure. That way I have berry flavored fruit, but put some magnesium back in your soil.
Yeah.
And for those wondering why I'm planning on staying single and celibate, two reasons. One of which is in the area where I live, most of the ones around here are drug addicts, mental unstable, or have other issues that I refuse to deal with in this day and age. Second, I don't have enough to prepare for a third person. For me to change the way I prep now to include a third person by myself without help from them would be astronomically hard because I've always planned for just two. So I'll
Yeah.
just keep it at just two.
Yeah. Um, yeah, you're right, Sand Hollow Homestead. Thank you for coming in, by the way. My berries this year are doing phenomenal. Like I've have so many raspberries out there. It's great. I've already frozen a ton of them. Um, I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna do a jelly or I make a cobbler, but I think I'm just gonna do a cobbler. But yeah,
I
I
would
got some
mix. I
awesome
would
ones.
mix and I would mix it. I would go out buy the paraffin so you can seal your jams and jellies and make up some jams and jellies. Those will keep for 5, 6 years. So if you don't use them
Mm-hmm.
now, you'll have them for later. And I would actually, if you're going to do canning, start doing that stuff and start making jams and jellies, make yourself some orange marmalade with the peel and everything in it because that is an instant high dose of vitamin C. And if you're the only person with orange marmalade
Yeah, yeah,
and people are
exactly.
wanting vitamin C, you're going to have a gold and literally gold in your hands, and people are going to want to
Mm-hmm.
pay for it.
Yeah, I'll have to make it, but not eat it because I'm allergic to oranges.
Well, that's not good. So don't wear the nice long rubber gloves and keep yourself well protected. We don't need you getting sick.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. I like orange juice and I like oranges. I didn't recently get this allergy until like maybe 5 years ago, and then I just break out in like hives. So
I didn't even see it, Worcestershire, so I guess I missed it too. Hey, CB.
yeah, my herbs are not doing very
I
hot either.
I can't say your name again. There, the one I just said hello to, because my phone thinks I'm saying something else, and it says, "Yes, what can I do for you?"
I
And I'm
know a
gonna say
couple of
this loud
times.
enough for my phone to see it. Apple products suck.
I love my Apple products.
All proprietary crap. But hey, I got a 7 Plus for less than $300 when I bought it in near perfect condition, far cheaper than what I should have paid for it. I'm happy that I bought it.
Yeah,
Other than when I try to say some people's names, my phone says hello.
yeah.
But when you say, Siri, do you work for the NASA or NSA or anything like that, it just sits there and stares at you like you're stupid.
you, you turn her on, Dave, says the fishes.
Nope, not my type. I am a geek through and through. Been a geek since 1979 when I first started learning how to program on computers. She don't turn me on.
Oh,
Hello,
hey,
Eric.
Eric Johnson. Thank you for coming in. We're going to be closing up shop here in about a minute, but thank you. We are going to have an after party after this. It's going to be at 11:15. That gives you guys enough time to go and grab something to drink, put your pajamas on, and hang out with us. It starts at 11:15 tonight. So if you guys are interested, just wait around because I'll be live again. I decided to separate that time from the time that I do my interviews.
Yes, because Kaylin, your cat is doing strange things when you're not paying attention. Cats are their own people. You don't own a cat. The cat owns you.
Exactly. That's all cats' personality.
Mm-hmm.
I had it was a Balamese cat, and it was very prissy, and it would jump on you, and it would just, you know, paw at you a little bit like this. And it's like every time it did that, you could just tell it's like, yeah, I'm the king. You better look out. Like every time.
Wouldn't surprise me one bit, Wickershire.
Yeah, I don't have cats anymore. It's been a long time. All right, you guys, it is 10:30. I would like to thank each and every one of you for coming out and hanging out with me and Dave from Southern Ohio Prepping this evening, and we really appreciate him coming on. This wraps up our prepping month. I don't know what I'm going to do next month. It's still up in the air if I'm still going to be doing interviews or not. I don't know, but it's still up in the air. And
Well, don't stick nothing up in the air right now. There's a whole bunch of lightning down where I'm at. You might get struck.
uh-oh, ouch.
Mhm.
But I still have to do some more research and try and see if I can get some homesteads on my lives. And I would like to thank each and every one of you for coming out. And don't forget, we are doing our party, our after-hour party at 11:15, so you can come over to that. And thank you so much, Dave, for being a part of this and hanging out with us this evening. We really appreciate you being here. And y'all have a good night, and we'll see you in a few minutes.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.